This episode is a special encore presentation of Work Trends. Welcome to the Work Trends podcast, brought to you by Talent Culture. I'm your host, Megan M. Bureau. Every week, I interview smart people reimagining the world of work. Be sure to stay current with all of our interesting podcasts by visiting our page at Talent Culture Work Trends on Apple Podcast or Spotify. And of course, you can listen at talentculture.com on the podcast page. Welcome everyone to the Talent Culture Work Trends podcast, sponsored today by Blueboard. I'm your host, Megan M. Bureau, and today we are diving into the world of employee rewards and recognition, discussing how the right programs can have a profound impact on workplace culture. Joining me today is Shireen L. Macy, a seasoned HR pro and manager of people and talent at Blueboard. But before we get started, let's get to know our speaker a bit more. Shireen boasts nearly 8 years of experience in HR, talent acquisition, people relations, and employee development. Passionate about fostering collaboration and engagement, Shireen is a sought-after speaker on workplace culture. Now, outside of work, just as important, she enjoys exploring creative spaces, attending art events, and engaging in philosophical discussion about the human experience. So excited to have you here with us, Shireen. How are you?
Thank you. I'm doing good. I'm good. Thank you so much for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Now, where are you today?
I am in Long Beach, California.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I grew up in the Southern California area and went to Cal State Long Beach. And after I graduated, I was like, I don't want to leave. So I moved here and I've been here on and off for the past 6 years.
So you're keeping it real, aren't you?
I am.
Well, that doesn't surprise me at all. And that's why you're here today. So let's get on with this party. Let's talk about, why do all companies need a culture of employee appreciation and recognition?
That's a really good question. I think that a lot of us know that anytime that we recognize any form of gratitude or any sort of, human beings need acknowledgement. It is part of our survival, but gratitude really helps people connect to something larger than themselves. So when that's coming from their organization, when that's coming from their company culture through appreciation and recognition, you actually see higher levels of engagement. You see that companies that have appreciation embedded into their culture have about 6 times more likely higher engagement and retention. So when you really just say thank you, whether that's verbal or through something like Blueboard recognition, you see a lot more connection to the larger company.
And I would argue that right now, as we're getting back to life post-pandemic, that's more important than ever. I know, from our audience here, we do a lot of surveying of this fine audience. And we know if you're out there in the Work Trends audience, number one, thank you for weighing in. Number two, you're feeling kind of lonely at times. So what's not to love about this idea of a high touch point right away? Right?
Yeah, no, I agree. Having that immediate connection to honestly anyone these days, but specifically the company that you work for, it is very much sought over by individuals.
Let's talk a little bit, because I know you've got so much awesome experience. Let's talk best practices for recruiting, talent acquisition, to use a program like this when attracting new talent. Like, where do we begin? What are the possibilities, for example?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things is to be extremely authentic when it comes to your interview process. That's going to be huge. You really want to display the interview process as an example of what it would look like to actually work at that organization. So that's your first introduction. These programs in particular showcase through the interview process the type of culture that's cultivated within each company. So you really want to highlight some of the offerings when going through the interview process, specifically around appreciation recognition. It tells you this is a company that says thank you for all of the hard work that you do. You're not just a number, you're actually a human, and we want to reward you and recognize for your work through actually giving you the gift of time and sending you back into the world to experience life outside of work. So that acquisition process is huge when you have these programs, when you're bringing in new talent, because like I said at the beginning, it's an example. Your interview process is a sneak peek into that culture and that working experience.
And I just want to stop you there, Shireen, because what you said is profound. I hope if you're out there, you're sitting back with your coffee, your tea, whatever it is, whatever kind of drink you want to have on, with this notion that it's about humanity. And we're not doing ourselves any favors by overselling, not being ourselves, because guess what, everybody? We all know it's going to rear its ugly head 3, 6, 9, 12 months down this road. Why not just be real up front? And that's what people want. I mean, data backs this up, by the way.
Yeah, it does. It does. One of the things that you mentioned that I want to highlight is we actually do a version of an interview after the new hire has been started. I call them check-ins, but we check in with the new hires within their first 30 days and then again at their 90 days. One of the biggest questions I ask is the job what you expected it to be? And that's because you need to show up authentically and not oversell in the interview process. Blueboard also offers new boarder rewards as part of our offering. So all of the new hires get a welcome experience that they get to use from day one. And so I check back in with them on their 90 days and ask, have you used it? What has that experience been like for you? And do you see how you're connecting to the bigger part of the business?
And hopefully leadership, managers, employees alike understand that this is available to them and that not only is it available, but we're going to use it at key intervals to really get into the nuts and bolts of how you're feeling, because it's so important.
Yeah, I agree.
So how does human resources position their request to the executive ranks to get buy-in for a program just like this one?
It's a great question, and something I've actually worked on throughout my whole career is how do we get the best people to want to join our company? And the best people, yes, of course they have the experience and they can do the job, but are they going to buy in? Are they going to lean into the mission? Are they going to lean into the culture? Is their engagement going to be self-motivated first and then fostered by the environment? So you can actually attract higher quality talent that not only can do the job, but actually give more to the job by having programs like this. Like we have a spot recognition program here at Blueboard where it's specific to high performing and going above and beyond your work. We all do that in our jobs anyway. Why not actually get seen for it and acknowledged for it? So with a spot recognition program like what we have, we're saying we recognize you can do the job. You do the job every day. We thank you for that job. But when you go above and beyond, programs like this can really recognize that. And that's what that high quality talent is looking for.
And how visible is it to the larger teams or leadership, for example, in terms of the spot rewards?
I mean, it's manager driven. It's manager driven and leadership approved. It's intended to be part of that bigger ecosystem of the company. Going to the executives and saying, look, we're actually seeing increases in productivity and motivation because of programs like this. That's that data that they're looking for. What's unique about Blueboard is a lot of the data is emotionally driven, but going back to what you said earlier is that we are humans and we are emotion-based beings, and sometimes emotions can actually increase productivity. If you have a joyful employee,
Wait a minute.
you have, I know.
Did you just say what I thought you said?
I know, can you believe it? Yeah, but looking at different levels of emotion can actually increase how the employee is showing up to work every day. And having a product like this that really focuses on the emotion of the employee and making sure that they feel gratitude and recognition and that appreciation, it increases productivity. And we've seen it in our research time and time again.
And I have to wager to guess, and this is not just a guess, of course, it's driven by data, surprise, but companies that are doing this, the buy-in thing, it's huge. So if you're a candidate or you're an employee, you already know you've got leadership's acceptance and they're driving this kind of culture, like by design, by purpose. I mean, that's pretty neat. It really is. Because believe me, there's too many other companies out there, and I hope you're tuning in right now. Hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. You need this, because I agree. Having the full circle of buy-in, that's culture to me. That's holistic. Can we get into some nitty-gritty? I want to hear maybe a case study. Share with us how it's showing value to the workplace and to people at large.
I'm going to use not only my own experience, but Blueboard as a case study, just because I am, in human resources here at the company, and it's the best way to speak to it. So Blueboard has always provided Blueboard rewards to their team members. We have always leveraged Blueboard as a way to provide appreciation and recognition for the work that they've done. It's anniversary rewards. Well, let me break it down. The Blueboard method looks at a multidimensional recognition function. So you look at formal recognition, which starts at an anniversary. So you're getting those every year when you hit your anniversary. We have informal, which we do quarterly rewards and annual rewards. And then we have day-to-day, which could be a peer-to-peer shout out, which is verbal recognition, or that spot program that I spoke about earlier. So with the Blueboard method, this is a great thing that we've all formulated together. When I joined Blueboard in June of last year, I joined because of the value of the program itself and seeing a company with a culture that's saying thank you to their employees. Earlier this year, we put together a recognition task force. It included myself, an account executive, an implementation specialist, and another tenured Blueboard employee. And we formalized our recognition programs. We actually matched what we do for our clients and a little bit more, because we get to use all of our programs as opposed to one or a couple here and there. We have seen engagement in our recognition when it's through the Blueboard method increase. So we got our highest number of quarterly nominations within the first quarter of rolling out this program. That's showing you right there that the team is engaged. They're also saying thank you to each other. Our nomination program is employee-based. So they're actually sharing nominations for their employees in hopes that their team members are winning awards. And to see that increase in engagement once a recognition program is rolled out formally, it was a huge win for us.
Oh my gosh, to actually, not only are you seeing it in action, you've been invited in to participate.
Yeah, it was really cool. I
mean, talk about no BS, learning by doing, by talking, by seeing, all of that. But I have to know, what kinds of nominations are you talking about? Give us some examples.
Yeah, we align our quarterly award program to our company values, actually, which is really meaningful in many ways. Our values are spoken here at the company all the way from the interview process through, employee life cycles. So the nominations is based on our 4 values. You have build meaningful relationships, get done, excuse my language, set ourselves up for success, and dance a little different. And we have definitions for each of those. We've drafted how to be recognized for each of those and how those values are displayed at the company. We have our team members nominate others that they've seen be a great representation of the reward themselves.
It's a feel good. It really is. And I love the thing about dancing. I mean, what's not to love about that?
Yeah, dance a little different tends to be everyone's favorite value, because it's that one value that says, please show up to work authentically. And I'm sure you talk to many companies. How many of those companies are actually embedding that exactly and embedding it into their culture?
Well, those who are focused on retention, I'll tell you that is the answer. That's the short answer. Well, I got to ask, we're always looking into the future here, into that old crystal ball here at Talent Culture Work Trends. Where do you see employee rewards and recognition programs fitting into the future of work? And what do you think it's going to look like 4 or 5 years from now?
Sure. I think that's a really good question. When we think about how much the workforce has changed, back in the 50s, you go and you grind. You go to work every day. You may work 12, 14 hours a day. You come home, you probably sit in front of your TV, and then you do it all again for 30 years, 40 years until you retire. When you retire, you get to then go out and celebrate your life and explore all of these things. What if you could do that at the same time? So with a reward like Blue Board, where we're actually leveraging experiences and embedding that into today's day and age of workforce, there's a huge relationship that employees are actually building to companies that are doing that. The workforce is no longer hustle, grind, relax for the evening, do it again. We're now looking at work-life balance. We're now looking at remote work and really embedding that work and that life together with a product like an offering like Blue Board, where we're saying, thank you for the work that you're doing. Now go do something you've never done before, or go indulge in one of your passions. Take the day, extend your weekend, have a great time. We're encouraging our teams to not have to wait until they're 65 to be able to do all of that. The other touch point is, like, when you think about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you look at the bottom, which is really focused on your physical security, and the top, which is a version of self-actualization. And with Blue Board, we're really encouraging closer to that top. We're giving you the fundamental needs that every company is going to offer. Every company nowadays will give you healthcare and a salary. But what if you could actually get more from the company that you work for and give back by having that higher motivation and productivity?
Well, I look at it as curiosity. You're giving us the gift of curiosity for other human beings that you're collaborating with. And I think the more we stay genuine, the more we're curious, the more apps we're not going to sit on the couch and wait for that TV show. I mean, times have changed. We're coming out of this pandemic. We've got, a loneliness. I think a problem with loneliness, to be honest with you, around the world right now. So anything that brings people together in a more genuine, authentic way, I think we just have to celebrate it. So Shireen, I want to thank you for stopping by and for just keeping it real with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. We danced a little different,
We sure did. And thanks for being you.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks so much. I appreciated the time today.
Thanks for joining us for today's conversation. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Just a reminder that you can hear all the Work Trends podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and on the podcast page at talentculture.com. Be sure to subscribe so you can listen on the go and stay up to date on all the latest news you want to hear. I look forward to catching up with you next time. I hope today's information made you wiser, happier, more informed, and most importantly, thinking of how you can use it to improve the quality of your life.